People often hear the word float, and everyone is afraid of losing the value of their money. In this video, I have collected for you the 4 most important things you can do to preserve the value of your money before floating. But first of all, I hope that you will support the video with a like, because this is something that helps spread the video and thus the information reaches the largest number of people and the largest number of people will benefit. First of all, guys, I want to draw your attention for a moment. The first thing is that we are against changing from one method to the other because in the case of switching, you lose most of what you have earned and go back to zero. Like 1. You finish college. Every 2 years, Omar leaves the job he is in and starts a new job. He starts a new job after 2 years, and after that, most of them go to a new job. No matter how old he is 60 years old. He will still be young in his work, and whoever is younger than him will be his manager. The second thing is that you are really living in a float, that is, a group float, even if people are in the picture and understand what will happen. That is, a float, if liquidity is available at a price lower than what is present now in the black market. Whatever thing you have, its price will go down. I mean, let us say this, on average, the price. The dollar is now £45, so any float from the first £45 or less, and this float was liquid and the situation stabilized. So what you have as being cheapened means being cheapened, and at the same time, it means you can ask yourself that because we don't know whether this will be the last float or not. What is it if this is not the last float and a float happened at 45 and we went back and saw the events of the moment we are living in this, then this meaning remains that if we see a float after that at 55, then we must also from now on start preserving the value of our money, so we must choose the goods that we value. In order to preserve the value of our money, we must choose the closest commodity priced on the black, and this is the basis for evaluating each of the 4 means that we are talking about. The first thing is real estate with gold together. I mean, we are talking about real estate with gold. Real estate is a value preserver, but every need of a group that exceeds its limit turns against it. This means that I bought an apartment for $500,000. The $500 million was floated. I sold $2 million, and $3 million remained. Or actually, the wallet on the value was $500. It was sold for $3 million. But they are after the valley for 3 million bricks, and by God, for 3 million cash. You will tell me his concern is 3 million bricks. Okay, if this person will be present with the 3 million cash like this, so that you can take them, this is difficult, because if there was 1,001 with 500,000 of yours, then I would not be left with $1 million. Only 701 with $1 million. I sold 2 million and he started. But there are 502 million. 1 million were sold yesterday, so the value of one is only the one that collected the 3 million, and so on. The more its value increases, the more it becomes tiring to pay attention. The idea of monetizing the property is difficult because you want to sell the whole property separately to one person, unlike gold. It is available that you sell the part to anyone, meaning it is available to sell the part to everyone. Okay, there is something I also want to keep in mind. Does the person who owns this property charge you $1 that is close to the black market and the highest? You will say no higher, as this means that you end up in a wider gap between the official and the black. I mean, if this gap, for example, in gold is £15. At this time, there is £20 between the official and the real estate, so if you have cash and choose the time to enter it, that is, thanks to gold. Okay, if you continue to have gold or you have property, then you can continue with the need you are in. Okay, your land. The question is that I want to sell gold in order to get an apartment to live in. Here, it is better to wait for the float because there is a gap between the pricing of gold and the price of real estate. It is possible, float like this. I mean, if what you have in mind is a resident that has perished, for example, on $1.50 or more, and you have, for example, 46 in gold, then this float is possible when it comes, if it will remain stable and have liquidity to fill the gap for you. which is, for example, from 50 to 46, or of course you start reading the events and seeing if there is no stability, then you start moving and buying the property before this gap expands. After that, the thing that people still want to put their money into is the car. The car is a group that does not preserve value. Even if its price increases, it does not increase at the same rate or in the same percentage. This means that you can take 100% in it to preserve the value. I mean, I assume with you that if the car ran out and I left it for a year, it would still be intact, but there is no car that would not move if it was replaced intact, but I assume with you that it would prefer intact. If she sold a model for 2023 for 2024, would the value be the same? No, of course we will also add the increase in the gap between car pricing and gold. This means that the house no longer has £50, and at the same time the dollar in gold is £46. Imagine this, if the gold item floated at 45, it would not be a loss, but the car item could be a loss if it happened after that and the world was stable. It is also better if you choose gold, and it is also better to keep it until you see what happens. I mean, even if you need a car, you prefer a keeper for your gold, which is inherently a value preserver, and after that you start to see that the world has stabilized and the price of these cars can be cheaper. What should you start with? You sell gold and go to get the Arabic. No, now there is no stability and the price of the cars is not cheap. Also, now you go to sell gold, but it also keeps the same difference for you because it is originally a commodity that preserves value, and you start to go and get the Arabic that you want to buy. The fourth thing is the certificate, which is of course a collective necessity. We place it among the needs that preserve money because it is accepted by a very large number of people because it is an investment. Security is an investment that does not involve any loss, meaning that it will never come back to you, unlike any other need. To us, I said it, meaning it is possible for a person to buy gold for 1,500, but he comes with the back, chapter 1,400, chapter 1,300, in contrast to the certificate. And here I am not able to repeat it in gold from the beginning of the crisis because it will certainly be a loss, but if you agree to enter into the certificate in order to enhance its value, you must reinvest. The return. So it is not useful for you to come and tell me that I am gold for 3 years and it is not my fault, and yet every return is a certificate of that in your hand. You have spent the last 3 years on it, and you are telling me that I was 100,000, and they are 100,000, and they did not buy anything. The opposite of the one who bought gold will remain 100,000, and he comes and tells me that the 100,000 here, be 8,000. The writers are 300,000, so the first thing you must do is if you reinvest. The return. If you were not on the certificate in order to receive a monthly return, well, you are on the certificate in order to preserve the value of the money. You must make a certificate every month after that, or through banking normalization, you must make a certificate, because for example, if you have 100,000 a month, after that, you take interest on 102 the month after that, and you press on 104 the month after that, you will get international in 6 more. Guys, it is necessary, I mean, put a light on something. The one who bought gold must, at a certain period, with a certain person, he must sell this gold and enter the certificate, otherwise he will lose, meaning not his money. It means that if he disperses, for example, £1,000, a gram. I will provide you with numbers. Of course, this gram is worth 2,000. The peak here currently is 2,000. Of course, God mentioned the quantum numbers here currently, they remain 2,000. Either there will be some decline from this peak if we start. We see the price of the dollar stabilizing and the bank starting to take it down a little, as happened in 2016. Or if we see that the global situation has begun to decline because global affairs have stabilized, or there is a modest increase. Gold, folks, means time. The annual increase in it was approximately from about 4.5% to 5%, except for 1 degree certificate, which took 11%. Whoever also invests the return on the 11 certificates in the certificate can reach 15% with him. Gold here collectively means a gold crisis, which means a crisis that you must have with you before it in order for you to sell it at the time of the crisis and begin to benefit. That is why I advise anyone to at least have it after the crisis ends. You have 10% of your money in gold. If what happened is repeated after 5 years, after 10 years, completely repetitive, then part of your money is actually gone, and it will be preserved in gold to help you if we live these events again after that. And so today's video, if you liked it, a complete conclusion of the whole video. If you would like to subscribe to the channel, your subscription will be an honor and a light for me. If you have, please comment, I think I am a new video. May the peace, mercy, and blessings of God be upon you.